everyone, it's Nadia from YARNutopia. Today we are making this Link to the Past vest, or Link to the Past tunic top. This is part of Nate's Halloween costume, so he's going to be Link from The Legend of Zelda, and I thought that this would be nice to match the Link to the Past hat. So if you haven't seen that video tutorial, you can make a hat to match this tunic sweater thing, this top. So I'll get into the supplies we need, and then we'll get into some frequently asked questions with measurements, and then we'll get into making this fabulous project. So big thank you to Red Heart Yarns for providing the yarn today. We are using two colors, your main color and then your ties color. We're using ties here. So my main color, this is all I had left. I used 4 skeins of this, actually 4, and this is what I have left. So this is, let's see here, this green yarn here is color medium time. Okay, excuse my ripped up label, but this is all I had left. And this is a Red Heart Super Saver yarn. They come in 7-ounce balls of yarn with 364 yards of yarn, so you're going to need 4 of those, and I'll have all that information in the blog. Also, for the accent color, we are using this warm brown color. And again, that's Red Heart Super Saver, and you're not going to need a whole lot, probably less than 50 yards, I think. So you're going to just use that for the braids on each side to make these ties. Okay, that's all basically we're doing on the side here. So that's the yarn we're using. So you just want 2 colors, a main color and accent color for the ties, but if you want to, you can make this striped. You can make this as many colors as you want. It does not have to be for a Halloween costume. It doesn't have to be for the Link costume. It can be for anything. It's really, really nice and really comfortable. So that's the yarn. Big thank you to Red Heart for that. Also, you're going to need a K-size hook today. This is a 6.5mm hook. I say that because it's a little bit bigger hook because we are using 2 strands of yarn at the same time. That's why I use the 4 balls of yarn of this main color, because we use 2 strands at the same time to crochet this project. You can use a bulky yarn, so that's just 1 strand of a bulkier yarn, or you can use 2 strands of any worsted weight or double knitting yarn. So that's why we are using a bigger hook as well. This hook is super fancy. It is from the Etsy shop Would Be Fancy. I can put a link in the description of this video, and you can get these fabulous hooks. They're fixed in the handle, and they're hand-carved, ergonomic, so it's like a bigger handle to be able to crochet comfortably for a longer period of time. So make sure you check that out, and there's international shipping available on those, so make sure you check those out, everybody. Also, you're going to need a scissors and a yarn needle to cut your yarn, sew things together, sew in some ends, and all that. We are making this piece 1 long panel, and then we are sewing up the sides. So you can see here, you can't really even see the seam on the sides, but we're sewing it up from the armpit down to about here, and I left a little bit open here for just a little fashion statement, a little bit of a slit on the sides, but you can close them up however you want. So those are the supplies you're going to need today. For measuring, I do recommend you have a measure tape available, because if you want to make this a different size, Nate is a 44 chest, but you can make this as any size you want. There's no stitch count in this, actually, so it's not in a multiple of anything. You can chain your foundation chain however wide you want it, as long as it is half of your chest measurement. So the largest part of your chest. Okay, I have to mention it's the largest part of your chest. And you can see here, across here is 22 inches. So that is, if you times it by 2, it's a 44 chest, because that would be all the way around. The circumference of his chest measurement is 44 inches. So that's how big I'm making this one and showing you. But if you need to make it, you know, if you only have like a 36 chest or a 32 chest or something, you can just make, you know, a chain that's 16 inches. okay, and then just make your piece. Also, you can make this as long as you want just by making this front part shorter, and then make it starting when we start to make our neck hole. You can, you know, start at that point. So you can go up, you know, maybe 30 rows and then make your neck hole, and then do the rest of the round rows in the back to make the back side. I'll flip this over to you so you can see the back side. It's just so plain. Okay, there's really no, you know, waist shaping because Nate doesn't really have a shape in the back there. But, you know, if you want to, you can decrease for more of a curve if you need to. But then you would just decrease on this end and this end when you get to that section. But I'm not doing that in this tutorial. Also for the neck, we are... we're working up this panel here, and then we're working one side and then the other side, and then continuing to attach for the back here. So we're crocheting around the neck hole, and then we're making sleeves, just short 2 round sleeves, but you can make these as long as you want, so you can just continue repeating row 2, and I'll show you that all in the tutorial. So before we begin though, I have to mention there are links in the description of this video, link to the blog, link to the Facebook, link to the Instagram. Big thank you to Red Heart Yarns for providing this yarn, big thank you to Would Be Fancy for providing this hook, and big thank you to my dad, Fuad Azmat, for videotaping, editing, and doing all the photos for us. And make sure you check out the blog and click the like and all that stuff and comment this video. So let's just get started and make this fabulous Link to the Past tunic. Alright, we're using 2 strands at the same time, so put those together, and then we are going to make a slip knot. So put your short end over your long end, just like that. Fold that down. Okay, don't forget we're working with 2 strands, so we're going to pull both of those strands through that loop. And then we're going to pull tight. There's our loop, and we'll insert our hook, and we can start. So on my project, I am going to start out by chaining 61. You can chain as much as you need to. So the math to do that is in measurements, okay? So the chest size that I'm measuring on Nate is a 44 chest, okay? 44 inches around his chest. So half of that is 22 inches, okay? Half of 44 is 22 inches, okay? We want to add an extra inch on each side to make it a little bit looser, so we don't want this to be too tight. We want this to be a loose-fitted piece. So half of 44 is 22, and then add 1 more inch, and that's 23 inches, okay? So I am going to chain 61 because that is going to get me to the 23 inch mark, okay? So I am going to just chain an amount that is half of the chest size that you're working. So if you're going to do this for a child size, you know, say they're a child size around them, I don't know, it's about 30 inches around, okay? So half of 30 is 15 inches, and then add another inch. So you would do 16 inches on your foundation chain, okay? That's how we're doing this. So I'm going to chain the half of the chest measurement plus 1 inch. So I'm going to chain 61, so just yarn over and pull through, there's 1 chain. Yarn over and pull through, there's 2. Okay, yarn over, pull through, there's 3. I won't make you watch me chain 61, so just chain the amount you need, and then we can go on to row 1. Alright, so I chained my 61, and I'm just putting my ruler up to it, making sure that it does meet the 23 inches, okay? You want to kind of stretch it out to make sure that it does, and it fits. So that is 23 inches. So now we can go on to row 1. In the second chain from the hook, we are going to half double crochet. So the loop on the hook doesn't count as anything, okay? This chain is our first chain, and this one is our second chain right here. So and what I personally like to do is turn the chain toward me like this, and that way you can see these back ridges on the chain, okay? On our foundation chain, you can see those back ridges. I'm gonna work in those back ridges, okay? So yarn over on your hook, go into that second chain, so 1 and 2 right in here. We're going to go into there, into that back ridge, then yarn over with your yarn there and pull that through. Okay, so now it looks like we have 3 loops on our hook. We're counting each of these doubles as 1. Okay, so 1, here's 2, and 3 is right there. 1, 2, 3. Yarn over and pull through all of the loops on your hook. Okay, that is a half double crochet. We're going to make a half double crochet in each chain all the way across this foundation. So yarn over, go into the next chain right here, yarn over and pull through, and then yarn over and pull through all 3 of the loops on your hook. Okay, yarn over, go into the next, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3. Okay, now I mean if you wanted to, you could just you know, use 1 strand of yarn and a smaller hook. Since this is going off of measurements, you don't have to do the 61 chains like I did. You can chain as many as you need to, just go off your chest measurement of the person you're working off of. So like I said, Nate has a 44-inch chest. Half of that is 22 inches, and then we're adding an extra inch. Okay, so 23 inches, this was what it had to be. So we're working up the front panel. We're making this one large piece, like I had said in the intro of this video. So I'm just going to continue half double crocheting all the way across for row 1, and then we'll do something different for row 2. Alright, just finished row 1 here, just half double crocheted across. If you're doing the same exact one as me, you should have 60 half double crochets now, okay? So, because that first chain we skipped there, so that doesn't have a stitch in it, so if you count your stitches, you should have 1 less than the foundation chain, okay? Going on to row 2, we're going to chain up 1, turn the work around just like this. And now for row 2, we are going to be working in the back loops only. So normally we work through both loops, okay, both loops, both loops, both loops like this. We are going to be working in the back loops. So the loop that's in the front here, this loop right here is the front loop, and then this loop back here is the back loop. Okay, so back loop, there's this back loop. Okay, so we're going to work in the back loops only for row 2. So I'll show you how to do that. We're going to half double crochet across. So yarn over, work in this first stitch right here, okay, where looks like we chained up 1 in there, this stitch right there. We're going to yarn over, go into the back loop. Okay, you can see that back loop right there. Then yarn over and pull that through. So we have the 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Okay, yarn over, go into the next stitch in the back loop only. Yarn over and pull through, and then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Yarn over, go into the next stitch, back loop only. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Okay, and that's all we're doing for this whole row. We're just putting a half double crochet in the back loop of every stitch, just like that. So we'll have the same amount of stitches on row 2 as we did for row 1. So I'll have, on my row, I'll have 60 stitches. Okay, so I'm just going to do that, and then I'll meet you up for row 3. Alright, just finished up row 2 now. Just worked a half double crochet in the back loop of every stitch. So you can see here there's that line across here that gives it some dimension, which is really cool. So now going on to row 3, we're going to do something different. We're going to chain up 1 and turn our work around. Okay, so that's not very different, but for working in the loops, which loop are we working in now? For row 3, we're going to work in the front loops only. Okay, so remember last row, row 2, we worked in those back loops like this, back loop, okay, back loop. Now we're going to be working in these front loops right here, okay? Now don't mistake that for this loop down here, okay? Don't mistake it for this loop here. We're working in this loop up top, okay, but you can see if you turn your row toward you like this, you can see the stitches, this stitch here, this stitch here. So this is the back loop, okay, and this right here, oopsie, right, well, there's both loops. Usually go through both loops. Right here is the front loop, okay, this loop right here. So that's where we're going to be working in. So I'll show you how to do that for row 3. We're going to yarn over. Now this very first stitch right here, we're going to go up under it, into it, just like this. Okay, so up into it. Then we're going to yarn over and pull that through, and then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Okay, I'll show you again. Yarn over, go into the front loop of this next stitch right there. Okay, yarn over and pull through, and then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Yarn over, go into the front loop. Okay, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3. Okay, and we're just working in the front loops of every stitch across then for row 3, working a half double crochet in each stitch. Just like this, very simple. So I'm just going to do that for row 3. Again, at the end of row 3, you'll have the same amount of stitches. I'm going to have the 60 stitches across. Your piece should still measure the same amount of length that you started out with. So mine should be the same 23 inches. So I'll just do that all the way across here, and then I'll meet you up for row 4. Alright, just finished up row 3 here, worked in the front loop only. Now I'm going to pull up my loop here. You're going to see the difference between this side and the other side. Okay, you can definitely see the difference. This side right here is the right side. That's going to be facing outward. This side, okay, so our odd rows, row 3 is showing the wrong side, or the back side, or the inside of your shirt. Okay, this is the inside of the shirt. Then when we turn our work to do the even numbered rows, you'll see it looking like this, and you'll see this line, you'll see this type of dimension here as well. This is the right side of the work. So the even numbered rows will see the right side, or the outside of your work, and the odd numbered rows will see the inside of your work. Now, what you need to do for rows 4 through 39 is just repeat rows 2 and 3. Okay, so chain up 1, turn your work. For your even numbered rows, okay, so rows 4, 6, 8, 10, etc., those are all going to be worked in the back loop only. So just rewind this if you need to see row 2. For your odd numbered rows, rows 5, 7, 9, 11, etc., those ones are going to be worked in the front loop only, just repeating row 3. Okay, now if you need to, just rewind this to see rows 2 and 3 and just repeat them until you need this, until this piece is as long as you need it to be. So until you get to the V-neck part. Now when I am ready to go on to making the V-neck part, I will be finishing up row 39. You want to end your piece, you want to end the rows before going on to the V-neck portion. You want to end on a repeat of row 3. So an odd numbered row, working in the front loops only, and that would be a repeat of row 3. I am going to do this until I hit row 39. When I finish row 39, going on to row 40, I will meet you up, because actually row 39 is the end of this front piece and this front panel part, and then row 40 is actually going to be working the left side, going up to making the V-neck part. And I'll show you how to do that next. So just continue working rows 2 and 3, just repeating it however long you need it to be, and then end on a repeat of row 3, and I'll meet you up when I'm ready to make the V-neck part. All right, welcome back. I'm just gonna chain one here. I just ended on row 39 there. That was a repeat of row 3, and you can see here, this is what my work looks like. I'm obviously looking at the inside of my work, the wrong side. So let me flip this over and you can see the front side of the work. It's super fabulous. So you can see the dimension, you can see these lines, and these lines. Okay, this is the outside of the shirt, so that's how your work should look like too. Just repeating rows 2 and 3, that just creates that design naturally. So it's really, really pretty. So what we're doing now, we just repeated rows 2 and 3 until it is the length we need it to be. At this point, right up here, now I want to make the V-neck. Okay, so you can see the length here is pretty long. Let me measure out mine. This is now for an adult size. Okay, but you can make this for whatever size you need it to be. Okay, and the length to where I'm going to start making the V-neck is 22 inches. Okay, I'm at 22 inches. This is more of like a tunic shirt, okay, but you can make yours as long or short as you want it to be. And that's 56 centimeters, just for those of you who like to work with centimeters. So that is how long I am now after row 39. Now we want to go on to making the left shoulder, okay, going up, making a V-neck. We're going to actually come like this. We're going to come we're going to split it like this, and these are going to have 2 panels here, and then we're going to connect them when we get past the neck hole, or the head hole, and then we'll connect it back up and make the back panel after. So it's all one piece. It's all going to be really nice. So what we're going to do is, now you're looking at your work on the front side, we're going on to, it's going to be like row 40, but actually it's row 1 of the left shoulder, okay? So for the left shoulder, what we're going to do, we chained up 1 and turned our work. We're looking at the front of our piece. This is the right side of our piece, okay? And for row 1, we are going to work in the back loops only, starting out, okay? So we're going to half double crochet 2 together. So yarn over, go into the back loop of the first stitch, yarn over and pull through, then go into the next stitch in the back loop of that stitch right away, then yarn over and pull through. So now we have 4 loops on the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yarn over and pull through all 4 of those loops. That way we've just half double crocheted those 2 stitches into 1 stitch. Okay, we decreased there. And we're going to do that again. So yarn over, half double crochet these next 2 stitches together. So go into this next stitch, yarn over, pull through, go directly into the next stitch, yarn over and pull through, and then yarn over and pull through all 4 loops on your hook. Okay, just half double crocheted those 2 together as well. Now we're going to half double crochet into the next 22 stitches, and I should have actually mentioned if you chained, or if your piece was smaller than mine, I'm actually going to pull up this loop here, so I'm going to explain something real quick before we do that. If you have less or more stitches than me, we're going to half double crochet to the halfway point, okay, but it's going to be to the halfway point and 2 less. Okay, I hope that makes sense to you. I have 60 stitches across here. Okay, you can zoom out just a hair. There we go. So 60 stitches across here. So half of that is 30. Okay, so on my halfway point, if you want to, you can mark your stitches with a different piece of yarn or a stitch marker or something. But halfway point is 30 stitches. So what you're going to do, we half double crocheted these first 2 together for this next row. So half double crochet 2 together, half double crochet 2 together, then half double crochet up until, I think I said 2 stitches, actually 4 stitches left. Okay, because we're going to half double crochet 2 together and half double crochet 2 together. So that's, and that would be at your halfway point. Okay, so we have to then have 4 stitches less than so I have 30 as my halfway point. I know this is going to get kind of confusing. You can always follow along with the written instructions, and I will put tips on how to, you know, work with if you did chain small, if your piece is smaller than mine or bigger than mine. I will put specifications in the written pattern so that you understand that we're doing a a half double crochet 2 together twice, then go enough until almost halfway, but 4 less than halfway. Okay, so that would be 22 stitches for me. So I'm going to half double crochet then in 22 stitches, and remember, back loops only for this row. Okay, so this is row 1 of the left shoulder. Okay, but like I said, I'll put specifications in the written pattern because that is a little bit confusing. We're getting to the decreasing of the shoulder portion, so it can get kind of tricky. But I'm just going to half double crochet in 22 stitches, and then I'll show you how to decrease the next 4 stitches, and then we'll go on to row 2 of the shoulder. Alright, just finishing up here. Okay, so this is what I did. Starting this row 1 of the left shoulder, we did half double crochet 2 together, half double crochet 2 together, then half double crochet in each of the next 22 stitches, and now we're going to half double crochet 2 together, okay, just like I showed you in the beginning of this row, and we're going to half double crochet 2 together. Okay, just like that. Now you should, if you want to, I'm going to pull up this loop here. You should count the rest of the stitches on this row, but we're not going to work in these stitches at all, but you should still count them to make sure they are half of your stitches that you originally had. So if you had 60 stitches, on this side now you should have 30 stitches. So I just counted them real quick, and I do have 30 stitches. That is half of my original count. Now up here, since we decreased from here to here, we're not working in the rest of these stitches. We're actually going to be working in now shorter rows and decreasing up here. And on this row, row 1 of the left shoulder should have 26 stitches across. Okay, so make sure you have 26 because each of these are 1 and 2, and then here's 3 and 4, and then there's 22 in here, so 4 plus 22 should be 26 stitches across here. Now chain up 1 and turn your work around, and we are going to be working row 2 of the left shoulder. We are looking at the back of our work right now, okay? So row 2 of the back of the left shoulder is looking at the inside or the wrong side of your work. And we are going to be working in the front loops only now on this row. And what we're going to do is half double crochet 2 together twice, just like we started the last row. So yarn over, but we're going in the front loops here. So yarn over first, go into the front loop of this very first stitch, then yarn over and pull through, then go directly into the front loop of the next stitch, and yarn over and pull through, and then yarn over and pull through all 4 loops. Okay, again, yarn over, go into the front loop of this next stitch, yarn over, pull through, go into the front loop of the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over and pull through all 4 loops on your hook. Just like that. So we half double crochet 2 together twice. Now on this row, we are going to half double crochet until there are 4 stitches left. So that should be in the next, let me see, 18 stitches this row. So just work in the front loops only and just put 1 half double crochet in each of the next 18 half double crochet stitches, or in each stitch until there are 4 stitches left. When I have 4 stitches left, I'll meet you up and we'll finish off row 2. Alright, when you have these 4 stitches left, you can see 1, 2, 3, and 4. We are going to half double crochet these next 2 together and then half double crochet those last 2 together. And always remember, row 2 is working in the front loops only. So yarn over, go into the front loop of this next stitch, then yarn over and pull through, go directly into the next stitch, front loop only, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over and pull through all 4 loops. And these last 2 stitches as well, just half double crochet those 2 together, working in the front loops only. There you go. So row 2 of the left shoulder should have, let's see, row 2 should have 22 stitches across here, okay? So we're at the edge now over here. We're going to chain up 1 and turn the work around and go on to row 3 of the left shoulder. We are going to work in the back loops, and you can see row 3 is looking at the front of our work now. You can see this is the front of our shirt. So row 3 says to half double crochet 2 together, working in the back loops only. So yarn over, go into the back loop of this first stitch, basically start it just like we did row 1 of the left shoulder. Okay, half double crochet these first 2 stitches together, just like that, and half double crochet the next 2 stitches together. Back loops only. There we go. Then we're going to half double crochet into the next 14 stitches, working in the back loops only. So I'm going to do that. Then there should be 4 stitches left on this row. So I'm going to half double crochet in the back loops of each stitch until there are 4 stitches left, and I'll meet you up. We'll finish off row 3. Alright, I have 4 stitches left. Finishing off row 3, we are going to half double crochet these next 2 stitches together, working in the back loops only, and half double crochet these last 2 stitches together, working in the back loops only. And that was row 3 of the left shoulder. So at the end of row 3 you should have 18 stitches, and now we're done decreasing for this shoulder. So now let's chain up 1 and turn our work around. And now for row 4 we are looking at the inside of our shirt, okay, the wrong side, and we are going to half double crochet in the front loops only, and we're going to half double crochet in each stitch across for a total of 18 stitches. Okay, so we're just going straight across, no decreasing anymore. We're just going to be half double crocheting in each stitch all the way across. And then I'll meet you up and we'll go on to the 5th row. Alright, just finishing row 4 here. I just had to half double crochet in the front loop of every stitch across. Going on to row 5, we're going to chain up 1 and turn our work around. We're looking at the front of our work now, the right side. Okay, the outside of our shirt. And for row 5, we are going to be working in the back loops only and just putting a half double crochet in each stitch across. Again, basically repeating the last row, except we're working in the back loops this time. So row 4 was working in the front loops, row 5 is working in the back loops, and I will just half double crochet across and meet you up for row 6. Alright, going on to row 6 now, we're going to chain up 1 and turn the work around. You should continue to still have the 18 stitches across. Okay, rows 4 and 5 have 18 stitches across. Row 6, we are going to repeat row 4. So work in the front loops only, okay, and just half double crochet across. If you need to, just rewind this to see row 4, but I'm just going to repeat row 4 for row 6, and then I'll meet you up and we'll go on to row 7. Alright, just finished row 6, going on to row 7, chain up 1, turn your work around. Now this is getting kind of repetitive, so I'm just going to let you know row 7 is a repeat of row 5. So we're just working in the back loops only and half double crocheting across. Row 8 is a repeat of row 4, so working in the front loops only, half double crocheting across. And row 9 is a repeat of row 5 again, working in the back loops only, half double crocheting across. So I'm just going to do rows 7, 8, and 9, just alternating working in the back loops or the front loops. Just make sure that you, follow along with the written pattern and do your rows accordingly so they're not mixed up and you're working the wrong stitches, looking at the wrong side of the work, okay? I'm going to do rows 7, 8, and 9, and then I'll meet you up because for row 10 we're actually going to increase. Alright, I'm just finishing row 9 here. We're going to go on to row 10. So row 9 is a repeat of row 5. So we worked in the back loops only there, and you can see while you're working row 9, you should see the front of your work. This is the outside of the shirt, okay? So now we can go on to row 10. We're going to chain up 1 and turn the work so we're looking at the inside of the shirt, okay? And what we're going to do for row 10 is half double crochet 2 times in the first stitch. So yarn over, we're working in the front loops only also, so yarn over, go into the front loop of this first stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Okay, and again, yarn over, go back into that same stitch, then yarn over and pull through, and then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. So there's 2 half double crochets in that first stitch. And then put 2 half double crochets in the next stitch as well. So yarn over, go in the front loop of this next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. And again, yarn over, go back in, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Now we're going to put 1 half double crochet in the front loop of each stitch until there are 2 stitches left. When there are 2 stitches left, I'll meet you up, I'll show you what to do in those, and we'll go on to row 11. Alright, I have 2 stitches left here, 1, 2. We are going to work in the front loops just like we have been and put 2 half double crochets in this next stitch and then 2 half double crochets in the last stitch as well. Okay, so on row 10, you should be back up to 22 stitches on this row. You can see we've increased, and you can see the increase is really swooping out on both ends there. Okay, so this would be the shoulder part here, and then we're getting to more of the back area now. Now going on to the next row, chain up 1 and turn your work around. Row 11 is repeating row 10, except we're working in the back loops now. So work in the back loops of this first stitch and put 2 half double crochets in there. Okay, and then work in the back loops of the next stitch, putting 2 half double crochets in there. And then work 1 half double crochet in the back loop of each stitch until there are 2 stitches left. And in those last 2 stitches, put 2 half double crochets in each of the last 2 stitches, working in the back loops. Okay, so I'm just going to do that, and then I'll meet you up for row 12. Alright, on finishing row 11, you should have 26 stitches across, okay, or 4 more than the last row. You can, again, see how it is increasing quite a bit, so that's really good. Going on to the next row, row 12, we are going to chain up 1 and turn the work around, and again, repeat row 10. And you can repeat row 10 exactly because we're working in the front loops just like we did row 10. So we're going to put 2 half double crochets in the front loops of the first 2 stitches, 1 and 2, and then just put 1 half double crochet. Let's see here, the first 2 stitches get 2 half double crochets each. Working in the front loops only, we're going to put 1 half double crochet in each stitch until there are 2 stitches left now. And at those last 2 stitches, we'll put 2 half double crochets in each one of those. At the end of row 12, we'll have our 30 stitches, okay? When I'm finished with row 12, I'll meet you up and we'll go on to row 13. Alright, I'm back to my 30 stitches at this point, and that was finishing row 12. So now we just want to go on to row 13. We're not going to increase anymore. We're back to the 30 stitches that we started out with on this portion here. So now what we're going to do is chain up 1, turn the work around, and for row 13 we're going to be working in the back loops only. And we're going to just put 1 half double crochet in each stitch. Okay, so no increasing anymore. We're just putting 1 half double crochet in each stitch across for row 13 of the left shoulder. When I'm done half double crocheting across, we'll be able to fasten this shoulder off and go on to making the right shoulder. Alright, when you finish row 13, we're just going to chain 1. I gotta grab my scissors here. We're gonna cut that yarn. Here we go. We're just gonna cut it. I'm gonna cut it just like, I don't know, 6 or 7 inches long, because we might use that to reinforce sewing later. So I'm just gonna cut it a little longer, and I might weave that around some stitches to keep this back side secure. So let's pull it through that chain 1 there and pull it a little bit tight. Okay, we'll leave that though there just like that. Now you're looking at the right side of your work. This is the outside of the shirt, okay? We are going to go back down to row 39 here, where we made, you can see this shoulder here ended in this stitch. So we're going to attach our yarn to the back loop of the next stitch right here. Okay, so this is a stitch here. We worked in there doing that half double crochet 2 together stitch. So the very next stitch that's free, so we're still looking at the front of our shirt. Okay, this is the outside of our shirt, the front side. We're working now the right shoulder. I know it looks like the left because it's facing us, but when you put it on, this is going to be on the outside, so it's going to kind of be flipped, and this side is going to be on the right side, and this is going to be on the left side. So now we're working the right shoulder. Okay, so grab your yarn, both strands, make sure both strands are together, and we're going to hook that on. Okay, I'm in the back loop of this stitch here. I'm going to hook that on, pull it through, and then we're going to chain up 1 just to secure it. Now we're in there. Now what we're going to do is yarn over. We're going back into that same stitch that we just attached to. Okay, and we're going to yarn over and pull it through. We're going to go directly into the next stitch right here, okay, and then yarn over and pull that through. We're going to half double crochet these 2 stitches together. So yarn over and pull through all 4 loops on your hook, just like that. Now when we come back through, we are going to be crocheting around this, so we will have more of a pronounced V neck here, okay, and that's later. We're going to half double crochet 2 together again. Okay, so half double crochet, oops, next stitch, and go into the next stitch here right away. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 4 loops. Okay, now I'm just going to let you be. You can repeat rows 1 through 13 of the left shoulder. Okay, we're just going to half double crochet in the back loops here until 4 stitches remain, and then we're going to half double crochet 2 together 2 times. If you need to, please rewind this video to see how I worked the left shoulder exactly. We are going to do the same exact thing as we did on the left shoulder. We're going to do that for the right shoulder now. So just repeat that, and I will meet you up then when you finish row 13 of the right shoulder, and then we'll, but do not fasten off at the end. That's one thing. I will meet you up after row 13 here, but I'm not going to fasten off, okay? I will show you what to do next. Alright, just finished up row 13. We just repeated exactly what we did for the left shoulder for the right shoulder. So let's pull up this loop. Do not fasten this off. I just want to show you what you should have, what it should look like here. So I'm going to flatten these out. So you're going to end on this side, okay, just like how we ended on this side. We're ending on both of the left sides, but we're also looking at the front of our shirt. This is the front of it, the outside, okay? This is the neck hole, okay? Now, if your neck hole is a little small, if it's turning out to be small or too big, you can, these rows in here on this side, that was rows, let's see here, 4 through 9. Okay, rows 4 through 9, you can increase the amount of rows or subtract the amount of rows on rows 4 through 9. That was just half double crocheting across just to get the height we need. But this is a good neck hole for Nate. His head will fit through there, so it's fine. So going on to the next row, now we're going on to the back. Okay, so in the written pattern, it's going to be row 1 of the back. Okay, and what we're going to do is chain up 1 here. Okay, so this is, we're finishing off row 13 of this right side here, right shoulder. So we chained up 1 here. We're turning our work, so we're looking at the wrong side or the inside of our work here. Let me turn this all around, sorry. Okay, and we're going to work in the front loops only. Okay, for row 1 of the back, we're working in the front loops only, and we're just going to half double crochet in each stitch. Okay, now I'm just going to half double crochet across these 30 stitches, and then when I finish this shoulder, I'm going to meet you up because I'll show you how to hop to the next shoulder and half double crochet across that. Alright, when you've half double crocheted in each stitch on this side, okay, we have to hop to the next side here. So we have this where we fastened off. Remember to work in the front loops only, so yarn over. Now go into the front loop of this one right here. Okay, keep that little straggler to the back there. Yarn over, pull through, pull everything tight. Okay, and then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Okay, just like that. Now, this is going to stretch like this. This straggler that we cut before, we're going to actually sew that to this bottom portion later, but I'll show you how to do that a little bit later. Now we're just going to go across the rest of these stitches, working in the front loops only and just half double crocheting all the way across, just like this. So I'll meet you up at the end of row 1 of the back. Alright, just finished row 1 of the back. Going to chain up 1 here and turn the work around. So now our piece is all connected. I got a little warm. I took my sweatshirt off. So we're all connected now, right in the middle here. And if you have this little strand here, you know what? We can just sew that together and sew in this end here. So grab your yarn needle real quick and yarn your needle with those 2 strands of yarn. Okay, and what we're going to do is just go at the base of these 2 stitches, or this stitch right here, go to the base of that one, and then the base of this stitch on this side, where we connected this yarn. Okay, just like this, and push, or pull that tight. Okay, then you can do that again, and you can even go in the next stitch over, kind of keep your finger in the loop there, and then come back through that loop and pull tight. And there we have tied a knot. And then we're just going to go underneath these stitches and weave in this end. Okay, as you can see, I was sewing this in looking at the wrong side of my work, or the inside of my work, which is exactly what you want to do. You don't want to sew this in on the outside of your work, because then you'll see it, and that's the outside. So I mean, you won't really see it because this is the back of the neck, but regardless. Then I'm going to cut that, and that's all attached, and there's your neck hole. Awesome! So now, going on to row 2 of the back of the neck, we are going to be working in the back loops only, and work a half double crochet into each stitch across. And then for row 3, we're going to be working in the front loops only and working a half double crochet across. So basically repeating rows, what was it, rows 2 and 3 of the front part. Okay, just remember which rows you have to work in the back loops and which rows you have to work in the front loops. Just check the written pattern for that specification if you need to. But I'm going to do this now for until I finish, let's see here, I'm going to repeat rows 2 and 3 until I finish row 53 this time. So I'm going to do until I finish row 53 of the back. Okay, so this, I'm on row 2 of the back right now, working in the back loops only. I'm going to repeat rows 2 and 3 because row 3 is working in the front loops only. So I'm going to be working rows 2 and 3 until I hit row 53. Row 53 will be a repeat of row 3, okay, working in the front loops only. And once I finish row 53, this should be as long as I need it to be. You can obviously end sooner or later depending on how big you need your piece to be. Okay, but I got you past the neck portion now. So we are going to do that until I finish row 53. When I finish row 53, I'll meet you up because when we fasten off, we have to still sew up the sides and make our sleeves and do a few embellishments. So good luck. Alright, welcome back. I just finished row 53 here. I'm going to chain 1 and we're going to fasten this part off. So I'm just going to cut that and pull it through that chain 1 and pull tight. So I'm going to show you now what I have finished here. And if you need to go on to making more rows, that's totally fine, or you could have ended sooner. I did the 53 rows for the back. Okay, so this is the front, as you can see. Actually, this is inside out. Sorry, guys. You want to put it right side in, right side out here. Okay. And this is the back. There we go. So it kind of looks like a poncho right now because we are going to seam up the sides. You want to line up the bottoms here. The front bottoms. All the way across. Kind of shake it out. Okay, and then your neck hole, your head hole here, should be laid fully in the front. Okay, so it shouldn't be, you know, like folded half like this, where it's in the front and the back, like that. You want it fully in the front, okay, and the shoulders are then over here. Okay, so if you need to do more rows, you can do more rows, but this is how it should look right now at this point. Now what we're going to do is seam up the side. So right here where this arm hole is going to be, you can see that it curves in right here. We are going to then sew it together right about here, right at the bottom here. The arm then should fit all the way through. If your arms at the top are larger than that, you can just go down a little bit and have them open down there. That's totally fine, wherever your measurement is. And that's going to be about 16 inches all the way around, which for Nate is more than enough. So it's going to be kind of loose actually. So I'm thinking maybe I'll just do 14 inches around his arm right about here. Okay, and if you need to, you can mark it with like a piece of yarn or a stitch marker or something. That's totally fine. Okay, so what we're going to do is grab one strand of yarn. Okay, you can do one strand of yarn and yarn your needle with that strand. We're going to sew up each side right now. You also want to sew it inside out. Okay, so I made it so that the outside is shown. You can see here inside out, or this is right side out right now. You can see these stitches along here, and then you can see this line across here. You will know that this repeat, how this looks, this is the outside. Okay, when I flip it to the other side, you can see the texture on this side is much different. Oh, I just dropped a hook. Anyway, the texture on the inside is a little different looking, so you can decide which side you want your outside to be, but this is the inside right here. So I'm going to flip this around Okay, make sure that your piece, again, is lined up how it should be. Okay, so looking at the inside, this is the front of the shirt on the inside. Okay, and how I can tell here is because this is split right here, because we reattached the yarn over here, so that's the back of the shirt. That's kind of how I am noticing. So, and this is all one here, so that's the difference. And we're going to crochet around that neck hole later, do a single crochet to cover that. So, okay, I'm going to stop blabbling here. Okay, so what we're going to do is just line this up. And if you want to, you can just whip stitch. So just line it up where you want it to be. Line up the rows. Make sure your rows are exact. And they are right here and right here. Okay. So make sure each row matches. So this row looks exactly like this row. And it does. Okay. We're just going to go through both layers and then just pull a lot of yarn through. And I'm not going to make you watch me do the whole thing, but all you have to do in the assembly step of the written pattern, it just says to sew up the side seams. Okay, so that's what I'm doing right now, is just going around and around through both layers and then just pulling the yarn. Okay, I'm going to only do this until there is about, I don't know, 5 inches left, maybe 6 inches left. So I'm going to go all the way along here, just like this. I'm going to go all the way down to about, I would say, right here. Okay, let's see what does that measure? Let me grab my measure tape. So that measures, oh, I guess about 8 inches, okay? I'm going to sew it until there's about 8 inches left. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a kind of like a lace, like a shoelace style thing with other colored yarn, with brown yarn. And I'm going to lace this up till about here. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to just sew this and then I will meet you up and we'll go on to the next step. Alright, just finished here. So I'm going to measure, just make sure that it is about 8 inches up from the bottom. And sure enough it is. So now we're going to fasten this part off. So we're just going to go underneath a few of the stitches here. Okay. And then keep your finger in this loop and then come back through this loop. And then remove your finger and pull tight. And that fastens that off. And you can do that, you know, once or twice. I'm just going to do it again real quick. Just like that. And then we just need to weave in this end underneath some of the stitches here. So I'm just going to go underneath these stitches and then come back through. Okay, and then cut any extra that you have. Okay, now we're going to come up to this part here, up top, and we're going to cut this shorter. Okay, that was from the ball of yarn. And we have to fasten this side off as well. So we're just going to go underneath a few of the stitches, come back through that loop, and then pull tight. Okay, and again, just for safety, you don't want it to unravel. And then we'll just sew in this end underneath the stitches. And if you want to, come back through. Okay, and then just cut any extra, and that's all together. Okay, so now this is what your piece should look like. So you should have this all sewn up this side right here, and then a little bit at the end here. We'll lace that up and close that. If you didn't want to lace it, you could just completely sew that closed all the way to the bottom and fasten off like I showed you. That's totally fine. So now what I need you to do is do the same exact thing to this other side. Okay, so I did this off camera here so you can see. I just sewed from here down to here with 8 inches, or you can, you know, line it up with the other side. You can line this, you can see this row is where I ended, so go all the way across and see that that's the row that I ended over there as well. Okay, and up top as well where you're starting, make sure you start at this row, go all the way across, and start at that row right there. So make sure that you do that, just line it up, make sure it's all good. Then we're going to flip this right side out, because we sewed it together inside out. Okay, so we're putting the right side out now, and you can't even really tell that there's a seam. It looks really nice on the side there, and that'll be under the arms anyway, so that's really cool. And this is the back, flip it over. This is the front, you can see the neck hole. So now what we need to do, I'm actually going to set this aside. I'm going to show you how to make the lace up here, okay, and if you know how to braid, that's awesome. So I'm going to just fold this and set it over here, and what we're going to do is make a braided lace. So I'm going to take this different color. This is, let's see, warm brown, Super Saver yarn, and I'm going to take I'm going to take 9 strands of this, and I'm going to use the length of my arms to measure it out. You can make your braids as long as you want, so I'm just gonna like put my arms out and then get one strand, kind of fold it in half, get the next strand the same length, like that, fold it in half, next strand, the same length, and this is like really tangled. Okay, there we go, and we're gonna do 9, so this is 4. You're watching me untangle my yarn as I go. Here's 5. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Dad. He's like back there helping me untangle my yarn. Okay, here's 6. Oops. 7. I think that's 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, one more here. 9. Okay, then we're gonna grab our scissors and cut that. And then what we're going to do is cut each strand. Okay, so they're all cut. You have 9 strands. We're going to loop this around our fingers like this and crisscross them, and then put this short end into the back. Okay, you can even pull your fingers out and push this to the back, and then pull that through that loop all the way. And that creates a knot, just like that. Pull tight. Now if you have, I usually like put this between my knees and then just like start braiding, but I'm on the table now, so I'm just going to tape this down to the table, just like this. And make sure it's secure. Okay. And if you've seen, braiding tutorials on YouTube, you can just braid this. I'm going to separate these into 3 strands each. Oh, and I have to also, I skipped a step by cutting this side. You want to cut these all down as well, so your strands are free. Be careful with your scissors. Okay, that should be good. Alright, so separate these into groups of 3 strands. Okay, and then all you have to do is just put one over the middle one on each side. So this one goes over this one, then this one becomes the middle, so then move this one over the middle. Okay, then just alternate sides. This one goes over the middle one, this one goes over the middle one. Okay, and we're going to make it tight. So you want to pull it tight. So this one goes over the middle one next, then this one, then this one. And you can just alternate these and braid this down. Now you can, obviously there are video tutorials out there to show you how to do this. I'm going to do mine pretty fast here, but you can take your time, make your braid, and make it tight so it's more like a lace. And if you've seen the Link to the Past hat, I also do this in that tutorial too. And this is a matching shirt to that hat for Nate's costume. So you can check that out as well, but I'm just going to braid this up and then I'll meet you up when my braid is fully finished. Alright, now my braid is as long as I need it to be. It's about 34 inches, so if you want to make yours shorter or longer, that's totally up to you. But at this point, I'm not going to tie this off in a knot yet. So I'm just gonna do a little bit more here. I have a little bit more. But what we're going to do is grab our vest here, this sweater here. Let's grab this. And you can see I've already have one done on this side. Okay, so we're going to just lace up this side and then leave this bottom about 5 inches clear. Okay, or we're at 6 inches clear. So what we're going to do, let me line up right across here. I'm going to show you how I do this. We're going to go to the side. Okay, just like this. And I'm marking this right here. That's where I need to start, okay? So I'm going to take this tape off, and what we're going to do is go 4 stitches in on each side. So you can see the seam is right here, okay? So this row is the row I'm going to start at, and you can see 4 stitches in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then to the side of it, just shove this through. You can use your fingers just to get through the stitches. Okay, just like that. And then on this side as well, 1, 2, 3, 4, right in there, and push the other side through. Alright, so now we're in this piece. Now we are going to skip one row and go over, and we're just going to kind of zigzag it like a shoelace. So make sure you're even on both sides here. And we're going to then skip this next row here and go into this row right here. And again, 4 stitches in, 1, 2, 3, 4. And take the yarn from this side, okay, over to this side. Oops, let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And just pull it through the stitches. Okay, you're leaving this side unknotted. We're not knotting this side because if we need more, we can braid more, and if we need less, we can take it apart. So that's why I'm not knotting it. So now going on to this side here, 1, 2, 3, 4, into this side. Pull that through. So I just took from this side, I crossed it on the inside and pulled it through. And you can turn it inside out, make sure your lace is straight, and then come back through. Okay, now we're going to crisscross this on this side. Okay, and we're going to skip a row right here, go to this row, 1, 2, 3, 4, in here, go from this side here to here. So just crisscross it. And then the same row on this one here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and pull this one through. Okay, and you can do this as many times as you want to. So now I'm going to swap them, crisscross them over, skip a row, 1, 2, 3, 4, right in here, take this one and pull it through, and this one. Pull it through. And a very similar concept was done with the Link hat. I think I might have laced it a little bit differently, but similar, I guess. Okay. And we're going to crisscross it one more time down here. Let's skip a row and go 1, 2, 3, 4, go in. We want to close this now. And again, if yours is longer, you can go all the way down this opening, but I want it to be a little bit open, so I'm not going to do that. Okay, Perfect. Now you can adjust your piece here. Just make sure that nothing is twisted or tangled or pulled. Make sure your tension is good. And the last thing we're going to do here, let me pull this up. I gotta tighten this. There we go. Okay, so you want to end on this side here. We are going to grab only one of them. You want one of them to be a little bit longer than the other, okay? And we're going to come over to this side and then come through all the way over to this side. And then we're just going to pull that through to this side, okay? So now we have both of these ends at the bottom, and this has a straight across line up here and here, okay? So that looks really good so far. And you can, you know, stretch it out, make sure that these laces look good and decent and everything. Then we're going to flip it to the inside and then pull these two ends together and tie them in a knot. And I'm going to tie it in a triple knot. So there's one, twist it again, pull it through, here's two, tighten that, and then one more time just to be on the safe side. All these strands in a knot. Here's three. And pull as tight as you can, and then grab your scissors. Be careful with them, but just snip them all short. Just like that. And that's on the inside of the shirt, so nobody's going to see that knot. There. And you can tuck it in if you need to. Just like that. Awesome! So I just need you to do the same thing to the other side so you have both of those done. And you can lay this out and you can see that they are laced up on both sides. And like I said, you could go all the way down if you want, but I wanted there to be a little bit of a slit here on his costume. So now, next step is to do the collar, and then we want to do sleeves, but sleeves are optional. You don't have to do them, but I'm going to. So collar here is very simple. If you want, you can just use one strand of yarn, but I'm going to keep it consistent and use 2 strands, if I can find them. There we are. So we're going to use the 2 strands in this tutorial, but like I said, you can use 1 strand. And we're going to grab our hook, start in the back here, okay, hook it on wherever, doesn't matter. We're just doing a simple single crochet. So hook that yarn on through anywhere in the back, chain up 1, and single crochet in that same spot right in there. Go in, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay. Now we're just going to go wherever your hook fits around this circle is where you should single crochet. So just go in, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, next spot, go in, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. It's just cleaning up this edge. That's all I'm doing. And you can see I'm crocheting over the top of this straggler too. So we're just going to hide that right away. I don't have to sew that in later then. So I'm just going to single crochet all the way around this neck hole, I guess, head hole. And then once I am finished on this round, I'll meet you up and we'll fasten this part off and go on to making a sleeve. Alright, so I just single crocheted all the way around this neck hole. So we're just going to go to this first single crochet, go in, yarn over, pull through and through to slip stitch, and then chain 1, and then we're going to cut our yarn and then pull it all the way through that chain 1 and pull tight. Okay, then you can grab your yarn needle and sew in your end, and I showed you how to do that earlier, so just sew in that end and then I will show you next how to start the sleeve. Okay, so I just sewed in my end here. Now we just want to work on a sleeve, so I'll show you how to start this out. We're going to start at the armpit area, okay, right here, And I'm going to twist this around real quick. And we're going to insert our hook right at the armpit area. Basically wherever your hook fits is where you should insert it. And again, you can use one strand or both strands at the same time. I'm using both strands and I just kind of hooked it around my finger here. And then I'm going to hook it on to that hook and pull it through. And then I'm going to chain up one and then single crochet in there. Go, oh, I'm sorry, we're going to do half double crochets. I don't know why I said single crochet. So yarn over, go into that same spot, then yarn over and pull through, and then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Okay, now we're just going to do this very similarly to how we did the neck, except we're working with half double crochets. So yarn over, go into wherever your hook fits, then I'm going to work around these strands here. Yarn over and pull through, and then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Okay, yarn over, go wherever your hook fits. Next, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. And we're just doing this all the way around this sleeve area here. Once I half double crochet all the way around, I will show you how to connect and we'll go on to round 2. Alright, I just half double crocheted around the whole sleeve, so now what we're going to do is slip stitch to the first half double crochet stitch right here. So go in, yarn over, and pull through and through. If you do not want a long sleeve, you can fasten off here, or if you want to just do 1 or 2 more rounds, you can. To go on to a next round, we're going to just chain 1, and then yarn over, go back into that same stitch that we just slip stitched into, and then yarn over and pull through, and then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. So half double crochet in that same stitch, and then just half double crochet into each stitch all the way around, okay? And you can do that for however long you want to make your sleeve. I'm not gonna continue after this round. I'm just gonna do round 2, and then I'm just going to fasten off. But you can, you know, make yours as long as you want. Just continue repeating what I started for row 2. When I'm finishing row 2, I'll show you how to end the row, and like I said, you can go on to making yours as long as you want, but I'll show you how to fasten off, and I think we'll then be done with our shirt. It's awesome. Alright, just finishing this round. Now if you were going to go on to another round, you just slip stitch into this first stitch right here, the first half double crochet, and just start the next round exactly how we started round 2. So just slip stitch, pull through and through, chain up 1, and then half double crochet in that same stitch and each stitch around. Okay, so you can make this as long as you want. To fasten off though, just slip stitch into that stitch and chain 1 like I just did, and then cut your yarn and pull that all the way through and pull it tight. Okay, that is how you fasten off. And then we're just going to sew in this end here. So that's all you need to do. So just make sure if you are making your sleeve longer to count your rounds, because you have to do the same exact thing to the other sleeve. Exactly just like this. So I'm sewing in this end real quick and I'll show you my other side. I already did that one off camera, so now we are finished with this project. There it is. The link to the past vest is complete. This is so awesome. It's like a tunic top, and I actually did try it on already. It is so awesome, but I know it's gonna fit Nate. It's a little big on me, but yeah, it's gonna fit him, and he's gonna look so fabulous as Link from the video game Zelda. So make sure you check out our photos on the blog and Nate in his Halloween costume. This is so much fun. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you to Red Heart Yarns for the yarn today and for providing it to us, and thanks to my dad back there for helping with the tutorial and for editing and doing all the fabulous pictures for our Halloween costumes. We're super excited about it, and thanks to you for watching. So everybody have a happy Halloween and a happy hooking!